All right. Podcast number 4. We are here on a Friday afternoon. This guy's time is very limited, so we got to extract some value for the audience right off the rip. Let me introduce my friend and former neighbor growing up, 5 or 6 houses down.
Yeah.
By the way, pure coincidence that we ended up, fate, that we ended up getting into the same exact industry doing the same exact stuff. It's absolutely wild. This is Jovani Calo. And he owns Calo Landscape, and they do high-end outdoor living, very similar to Woodburn Landscapes, and a lot of the same service areas. So welcome him on.
Lovely.
Yeah, everybody's going crazy.
There we go.
Thanks
for having me.
Welcome.
Man.
What's up, buddy?
Yes, sir. There he is.
What's up? So this is
it.
my gym partner, and we can relate because we
Squash
go through
partner.
a squash partner as well.
Above.
For anybody who doesn't know what squash is, it's a lot like racquetball. It's indoors.
Pickleball.
Pickleball.
I pretty much pay him a recurring $50.
There we go. Yeah, so we do like to bet.
And then he pays me a recurring $50 at times.
It happens on occasion.
It does.
My favorite story, real quick for the people,
Sure.
is about a time that Jovani had been continuously late to all of our gym
That's
sessions.
funny.
And so what I told him was, if you're late again, I need you to send me $1,000 for my time. And this guy literally comes in at least 45 minutes late that day, and he fucking Venmos me $1,000. He actually did that. Absolutely wild. Nobody on planet Earth would ever actually do that. They'd be like, no, it was a joke. The fact you did that actually made me have respect for you inherently. Even though you were disrespecting my time, I respected the fact that you put your balls where your mouth was and you sent me $1,000. That was crazy.
Sure.
I did not expect that to happen. So that's a fun story from going to the gym. But
Got to keep our word.
he's a lot more than that. He's very spiritual now, and he's sober. He's been on this journey for a long time because he was a little shithead back in the day. And, he won't cuss the way I will, but that's because he's respectful, and I appreciate that. But point is he got into some stuff back in the day when you were 18 having your first beer. He was 12 doing the same. And that's not a dig. That's something for him to talk about. And I think today we're going to get a lot of quick value here because we have 24 minutes to film this. And I just want him to start to talk about what he was acting like back then. Because a lot of people are going to be able to relate to this. That just might not have been the age that they dove into it. The party scene, the friend scene, the getting into stuff scene. Talk about what you were acting like as a kid from, let's say, I don't know when this goes back, but 10 years old to maybe 18, and then talk about what happened. You have an extreme story, and again, we have 23 minutes now, and I know that we talked about this for 2 hours in the truck one night when you explained to me, because I never knew the story. And so, whether you just want to talk straight through it or there's some back and forth, I would love for you to share some value on the journey and your transformation, because now Jovani runs a $2 to $3 million per year landscape business, and that's extremely impressive. How old are you?
25 right
He's
now.
25.
Yeah.
I'm 30, and my business is smaller than his today. So, talk to me about your journey on sobriety, high school, growing up, middle school. Who were your friends? Why were you acting the way you were? What were you angry at, if anything? Yeah. And then that transformation, what your parents sent you to, that sort of thing.
Sure.
21 minutes. See if we can get into a little bit of these guts, because this is the value. And this is, again, where on the To The Max podcast, we talk about how to live your life to the max. And it's a cheesy saying, but if you stop thinking about it as cheesy, you're going to learn there's value here, because I'm always going to have diverse guests with diverse topics on things they're passionate about or have learned deep lessons on. Go, Jovani.
Yeah, absolutely. So, really, I think you made a correct statement in saying that there was a transformation. There absolutely was. I guess I could start by saying I've always been one to hang around older individuals and always be attracted to people that were a bit older than me, a bit more advanced.
Is that because you were an old soul? Do people tell you that? Or is it more so that was just who you gravitated towards as friends? You were like, the people my age are whack.
Yeah, I think it was probably both.
Yeah.
I've always hung out with Justin's friends. I mean, even you and I being friends.
And that's his brother, by the way.
Etc. Yeah. 3 years older than me, Justin. He's the best. And that's why you and I mean, even now we're friends Suzanne and I, my wife, even today, currently, a lot of our friends are, quite a bit older than us.
Yeah, sure.
And it just seems that we connect with those people. Now, growing up, certainly, at even 5 years old, I was hanging out with 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds. I was the little guy.
Boy was
skating.
running the block. What are those big wheels?
Sure.
Boy was rolling around on his big wheel.
Another one of my good friends, Jay Segoli.
Yep.
Actually, I think that's pretty pertinent.
It is.
Is it known where we are? And
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Everybody knows this is Progressive Medical Center. Gazzagoli, the founder, his son, oldest son, is named Jace. Jace is a big-time skater. He's also going to come on the podcast December 18th, if I have that right. But Joe is an insane skater, and I know there's so many paths we can go down, and we're going to have to obviously do another podcast.
Sure.
But anyways, you can continue.
Yes,
Jace is the son of the owner of this practice where we're filming the podcast today.
So that's a good example. Growing up, skating, being at the park. Yes, I was 5, or not 5, I was 9 at that time. But even being at our neighborhood pool, Waterford Pool, I was hanging out with Jace. And he's 9 years older than me. And Jace has always
Let's be clear, 9 years is a big gap.
Yeah, now Jace has always been a very positive influence on me in all ways and has always led me down the right path and have nothing but amazing things to say for my brother Jace, who is also on a journey of sobriety, which is a great thing.
We got a lot of respect for that.
Yeah, which is a great thing. So, and health and fitness and all the good stuff. So with that, that's always where I've been attracted. Is hanging out with people that were older than me, probably thinking they were cooler, and they probably are cooler.
But they have more life experience, more knowledge, more things to say.
Just felt like that's where I connected and felt like they appreciated me as well.
And you said even today, that's true.
Even today, that's true. We definitely have some great friends that are younger than us and the same age.
Sure.
So, yes.
But you really have no issue connecting with people in their 60s, 70s, 80s because...
Not at all.
You're empathetic, you're kind, and you're you listen, and so you're able to bond with those people.
Sure.
And I'm a lot similar in that way.
Yeah.
One of my closest friends, funny enough, is 70-some years old. He was one of the main reasons that Atlantic Station got built.
Right.
He's my golfing partner, my buddy, Mike Vlass, if you're watching. Love you, buddy. Can't wait to get back on the golf course when your finger heals up.
Yeah.
But anyways, point being is who talks to someone 40, 50 years younger than them unless there's some value in the exchange and the interaction. So I think that they probably also recognize in you your skill, your differences, your values, your spirit, and all that sort of good stuff. Yeah. And that's why it's easy to do those relationships. But
yeah.
Keep going.
So continuing with that, the skateboard scene is a great scene. I'm still a skateboarder today.
Unreal skateboarder, yeah.
Sure. Thanks so much.
Well, he's broken all of his teeth in his face before. Every limb has been reconstructed, and he still gets back after it.
Sure.
Like, he's still hustling.
Sure. Absolutely love it. That was a lot of the vision for a while was to become a professional skateboarder. And
How long was that the vision?
Probably so I was playing travel league baseball. Shortstop, loved baseball, was training, had a batting coach, all those things for my whole childhood up until about 11. Then when it hit 11, I fully stopped baseball and went all the way into skating. And I got really, really good at skating really, really fast. And within 2 years, I was probably, at that time, I was 9 to 11, and I was skating on one of the higher levels of anyone in the country for that age group.
That's so crazy.
And was going around and competing and was really enjoying it and started filming street parts and doing all these good things. And throughout that, I would just say I think life is a journey of, you get off path, and then that's what allows us to then get directed back on path. And I'll just tie this into God early on and just say that's where I think God is essential in my foundation in my life is,
that's awesome.
Realizing that I might not always have it all together, and it's by grace, not work. So we have, I believe that we have a God. I believe in Christ. I believe in our Heavenly Father, and with that, I've seen it again and again in my life where, me being off path is then going to show me. And I don't think I would be who I am today and have some of the core foundational beliefs and values that I have and motivations that I have and disciplines that I have and beliefs that I have if it weren't for some of the things that I went through and some of the choices that maybe weren't as good, which then showed me, hey, this is not how I want to be. So to speed that up, really early on, just struggled with substance abuse and struggled with.
Do you have an addictive personality?
I would say so, absolutely. So I absolutely do. So growing up, even early on, I would never take no for an answer. I still don't if I really want it bad enough. So
that's the entrepreneur in you,
that's
by the way.
But with that, with that specifically, yes, I do have an addictive personality. I'm all in. I tell my clients that, and there may be some clients, and at some point, who knows, maybe some people from the landscape industry that watch this, and all I'll say to that is, yes, if you know me, then I will even tell my clients. At times we'll talk about it, because when you have clients, sometimes that turns into friendships. And Calo Landscape, we have a lot of, we try to present a nice experience, so we might be dropping off a nice bottle of wine from Sicily or something like that, and the question might come up or the comment might come up, and the reality is, no, I don't drink. I'm intense now. You don't want to see me sober, or you don't want to see me not sober, right? So with that specifically, we had a lot of clients. We had some custom build partners and some amazing people out at our wedding in Sicily, and everyone was enjoying themselves, and I was on the same level, completely sober. So yes, I have an addictive personality.
Isn't that cool? Though?
I have an addictive personality for sure.
Okay.
So, and with that, a lot of them
those
then
addictions
said,
kick off when you were a kiddo?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of them then said, yeah, I see it. Don't drink anything, because I'm already there.
You don't need
pushing
it.
for it. Yeah, absolutely. Anything I'm doing, I'm going to do it 110%. And
that included drugs.
That included when I got into just smoking and alcohol, really, and those were the two things.
Yep.
And
so hanging around a lot of these older kids.
Sure, absolutely, right. And with that, going all in on that too, led to actually a really transformative experience where I spent 13 months, actually out in the woods in Maine. So I spent 13 months.
This is what people don't know, and what is absolutely a wild story. So continue.
Yeah. I spent 13 months out in the woods in Maine, which was a transformative experience for me.
And so this is a rehabilitation center of sorts, right?
Yeah,
it's like an extreme.
Yeah. Sure. It was fully, I am an intense person, and I do believe in, grace, and also I believe in environment. I believe that environment has a lot to do with your everyday experience, your habits, and who you are. So with that, I fully went to a complete new environment, complete new, and that's like a 180, right? So from growing up here in Atlanta to then being up in the woods in the middle of Maine for 13 months without a phone, without any connection or communication with my parents for a little while, and in a total new environment where there were about 50 other students, teenagers in this space, and I initially, so I'm
smiling because I'm thinking about how you got there.
Sure.
Not your whole life experience, but the literal way you got there.
Sure.
Tell me, or tell the audience, what happened and how you ended up there. Literally speaking.
Yeah.
This is wild.
No, with that,
really we're not going to name the facility, but just tell them how it was done.
No, with that, I'm an intense person, right? So this was 16 at the time, and I mean, shoot, I'll say it. I'll say all of it, right? Dan Martell, if you ever watch this, I listened to you speak live, and you told about your troubled teen years. So,
dude, it can only bring value.
You know
people.
what?
It can
Here
only
I
help.
will too. That's okay, because this is why Dan Martell stood on the stage in Chicago and he laid it all out. He said what he was doing.
Yeah.
Yep, and he said when he was 17 and whatnot. And maybe I feel a little bit like don't want to do it because there's distance. There's 9 years distance, but it's like there's not as much distance as Dan and his past, but that's okay. Everyone
That's
has
okay,
that.
dude. You were a literal 2.0 of that person. So,
Sure.
But what did they do to you? How did you get?
Yeah, no, we can go in because Dan went in.
Because of Dan. Shout out Dan. Will eventually listen to this.
Because of Dan,
We're
and
putting it out there.
because he spoke on his experience. Dan Martella, very amazing, inspiring entrepreneur and motivator and leader for the youth. He now leads the youth, right? And that comes back to the point of when you go off the right path, that then shows you and forms you into what you're supposed to be. So for me as well, I have helped many people in their sobriety. I like to think that I'm able to set a good example. I give all glory to God for these things. I would hope that I inspire some people at some times and at some days.
You will.
So with that, and I would hope that I already do. So with
Correct.
that specifically, I was, and Dan said how he went to jail and he went to prison and he did all those things. So for me, I really got into the wrong path of just smoking constantly, drinking constantly, even selling drugs.
Yeah.
Selling drugs throughout local areas and whatnot, and just got in trouble. Probably would have gone to jail or probably would have gone somewhere else.
If intervention hadn't happened.
So I was 16 at the time, and I think a lot of it was also emotional regulation and not having those skills and not having that awareness. And then you have an easy crutch like a substance, and then it's easy to just use that, and then that consistently becomes worse and worse and worse and worse, and your behavior comes worse, and it's just a snowball. And then I was at the point where I was not doing good at all in school. I was about to fail out of school, and really, I will speak on the total depth of it. Because the reality is, and thanks be to God for this, you are right, and you have listed where I am now, and it's only the beginning of where I am going.
Correct.
And thanks be to God, I do run a great company, Calo Landscape. The Calo Landscape team is phenomenal. Our clients are phenomenal. Our partners are phenomenal, and it's only the beginning. So, and this is 5 years into the business, to the landscape world, to Calo Landscape.
Yeah.
So
he did what I've done in half the time.
I don't know about that, but I would say just
that's
where
tell
we're
people what happened.
Yes.
How did you get to the rehab facility?
Yes, specifically.
This is not Dan Martell's story.
No, it's a little bit different. So I was selling drugs, about to fail out of my junior year of high school, actually at Dunwoody High School, about to fail out.
You were just getting into some shit.
Not doing good, and with that specifically needed to be relocated. I would not have gone by choice.
Yep.
So that's the truth. Had there not been a way that it was forced, I would have jumped out of my window. I would have ran away in the airport. I would have gotten away. I would have
this
definitely.
This boy is nimble, okay?
Yes. I definitely was not going. So I woke up in the middle of the night. A family friend woke me up. I knew who she was, so I knew I wasn't actually getting kidnapped. She woke me up. She said, "You're going somewhere." Mom and Dad had mentioned that a little bit, and they said, you're going to have to go to a place if you don't get your behavior in check. Didn't get my behavior in check. They said, "You're going somewhere." Okay. We went. I woke up in the middle of the night. Rosemary woke me up, one of my mom's friends, and there were 3 large men around me, around my bed, and they basically triangled me, and I didn't fight it. I cooperated because there was really nothing to fight at that time.
What were you going to do?
So they walked me into the back of a literal van, and I drove about 24 hours straight from Atlanta, Georgia, all the way up to Maine, where I was then exited out of the van into another group of men, where I was then sat down in a cabin, and I was initially told that it was going to be a 1 to 3 month or like a 4 to 6 week program. And when I sat down, I was also told that I was going to be able to call my parents initially and immediately. So I sat down in this place. I see, the staff, and I say, "Okay, where's the phone? I'm ready to call my parents." At this time, I had a broken hand. It was a very labor-intensive place, so I was doing all my chores with one hand.
Oh, no.
Yeah, all the above. Cleaning,
So wait, did
cleaning
you get
horses.
the phone call or no?
So I sit down. I'm ready to talk to my parents. "Oh, we don't do that here." So.
And this is not because they're corrupt. This is because this was all part of
This is just the
plan?
program. This is the program. So I was initially told I was going to get a phone call. It's a 4 to 6 week program.
So they bring it out of you. They're freaking messing with you.
I sit down. No. That was the transport company.
Oh, okay.
They were probably telling me that to calm me down.
Got it.
So
it's
I
not part
get
of the
there.
plan.
Yeah, so I get there.
Okay.
They sit me down, and when they sit me down, I'm like, I'm ready for my phone call, and they say, no, you don't get a phone call.
That's crazy.
And that was like,
You just
they
drove
said I could
24
get a phone
hours.
call.
Yeah,
They said
that's
I
crazy.
need to call my parents. What is going on? And they say you don't get a phone call. That's not how this works.
That is
So
terrifying.
then I'm like, give me my phone call. Like, this is not okay. No, you don't get it. So this is really the first time in my life where I really hit a brick wall hard, because like I said, I've always been passionate. I've always been
listen
independent.
to no.
I don't listen
You
to
don't
no.
take no for an answer.
I do now in the right times.
Yeah.
Right? So this is what that taught me.
But this was the first freaking wall.
This
that
was the
said,
first real
no,
wall.
you don't get it. It's a no.
And it was out of my control. Yeah, so there was that. And then to lean on that more, the next sentence that came out of their mouth was, this is a 9 to 12 month program. So
Was the transport company the ones that said 1 to 3?
they said that it was a 4 to 6 week program.
Oh, so they were just wrong on all
They were
fronts.
wrong,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
So I sit down and I'm thinking it's a 4 to 6 week program. All right, 2 months. That's rough. I'll be out of here in 2 months. I can go back, do my thing, whatever. This is terrible. This sucks.
Bro.
They sit me down and they say, yeah, this is a 9 to 12 month program. And
what
that,
went through your head right then? Anger on a
Shock.
whole shock.
just shock.
Not anger.
Shock.
Or both.
Just
Shock.
shock. I think desperation.
Were you going to
too.
be able to call your parents ever during that time?
I was not able to have a single phone call with them for the first 30 days. Mind you, I'm 16 at the time, so I'm growing up at home every day with mom and dad. So at 16 years
That's
old.
not a grown-ass adult. By
So
any
when
means.
people say and people look at these things, and sometimes now people say, oh, you're so young, this, that, the other, or whatever it may be. I grew up really fast. At 16, I had to become a man overnight.
That's insane.
So that's my story there.
So what came out
yes.
of that? What sunk in with you over those 9 to 12 months?
Yes.
And at what point did you
Well,
have self-realization?
I'll say this. So, yes, I felt shock. I felt I was just in shock about the 9 to 12 months, and I will say that was the initial when they said that was the initial turning point of, wow, I'm really here, and couldn't really believe that, but it just smacked me. And then I remember from there, I remember the turning point was really the first few months. I was fully just not bought in. I was not with the program. I did not want to change. I did not want anything. I was writing my parents letters with my left hand because my right hand was broken. That was my only way I could
sloppy-ass
communicate.
handwriting.
They were, yeah. And that was my only form of communication. So I was fully writing letters with my left hand, and for the first 3-4 months, I was fully detached from the program, didn't want anything to do with it, didn't want to be there, and I think that was still part of the shock factor. So I think I was in shock for the first few months. So you get to this camp program, and the first thing they do is they sit you in a fireplace for 24 hours. They call it a solo. You can't speak to anyone. They bring you just 3 meals a day. You can't, and I'm going from 16 years old on my phone, active, doing things, driving around, doing all these things. Freedom. Full freedom.
People take freedom for granted.
Fully having freedom, and then immediately into an environment that I can't control, and that's more than structure. I mean, fully everything stripped away from me.
Yeah.
From
structure with no freedom.
Shoes, clothes. I had clothes, but they gave me a uniform. They gave me all these things. So they broke me
details
completely.
on the chores front? What are the obligations if you're staying there?
Yes, and I'll jump into that.
Okay.
To finish on the solo, you stayed in this fire pit area for 24 hours.
That's
Didn't
right.
talk to anyone. If you got in trouble there, you'd either have SR or just reflection. Service reflection was pretty much just labor. Loading wood.
They just come up with a fancy term.
Loading wood, deep cleaning a house, doing all these things. And then reflection was just actually, if you got reflection, you were sitting in that fireplace for 12 hours. Like, you could get in trouble and they'd say, all right, 2 days reflection. And that meant that you have 2 days where you're in this place and you can't sit. So this is probably one of the craziest things. They fully stripped me and broke me. But the reflection, you get 2 days reflection. You're there for 48 hours. You go out, they walk you out at 7 a.m. You're fully supervised. They bring you 3 meals a day. You can't talk to anyone. You can't do anything else. And then come in at the end of the day, you go to bed, do the same thing all over. Okay, hope you mind your business and hope you behave
learned your
correctly
lesson.
now. Yes, exactly. So they stripped me all the way down. I'll get into the chores. This program was a place where, to give some context, every time I wanted to stand up, I had to ask, may I stand? Anytime I wanted to sit down, I
This
had
blew
to
my
ask,
mind the
may
first
I
time you
sit?
explained this.
Anytime I wanted to enter a doorway, I had to ask, may I enter?
Oh my god.
And then for 13 months, anytime I wanted to speak to anyone, ever, I had to look at a staff member and I had to say, may I speak?
That is... I don't think anybody really understands the gravity of that until they're in it.
All
They
conversations.
can hear it high level, but like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So all conversations were monitored completely. There was staff there 24/7.
Monitored like on
Monitored,
recording or a
monitored
live
by
person?
a physical live
live
staff
person.
member.
Got it.
Had to oversee every conversation from every student
Wow.
there. If you got caught talking without a conversation being monitored, you would get SR or reflection. So they fully broke me down, stripped me down. Schedule there, wake up. It's really cold in Maine in the winter. I didn't know that, being from Atlanta. So
They didn't really give you a chance to pack a bag.
Oh, we got a jacket. But anyway, schedule-wise, very cold. We'd wake up in the morning and walk. Some people would have medication and whatnot, so we'd walk, do some morning duties. Then we'd go to breakfast and all those things the whole time, right? So every activity. So there's, you have to walk out of the cabin. You have to walk to the med shed. You have to walk to the breakfast cabin. You have to do all these things. So through that, there's a whole bunch of may I enter, may I exit, may I stand, may I sit. For milk and cereal, this is a funny one. You had to ask, may I pour? You could not pour. You could not pour milk without
May I
asking.
pour?
Yeah, may I pour?
What happens
Yeah,
if they
yeah.
go, nah, not today? No
Yeah, so
pouring
that was
today."
actually a frustrating thing.
Oh, is that? No,
So
right. I was mostly
yeah.
kidding on
The
that.
reality is, some staff were nice, some staff were not nice, and with that,
That
right?
sucks that's what it comes
Yeah,
down
with
to.
that, it was, I might say, may
Favorites and least
I enter? May I
favorites.
enter? And some staff might just look at you for an extra 3-4 seconds just to make you sit there.
Dude, no wonder you've become the man you have, because to not want to punch every single one of them in the mouth immediately, even though you probably did at the beginning, to eventually like calm down enough to not let them ruffle your feathers. I feel like that is kind of like a
Sure.
huge thing that you now probably carry around with you, the confidence of like, no, you don't get it. You can't throw me off my mindset,
Sure.
like my attitude.
Absolutely.
I think that's that's invaluable.
Yeah.
But during the time, that's terrifying.
Yeah, that resilience. So we'd go to school for half the day, and then we'd do chores. There was a mini barn where we'd clean a barn, and then there was the lodge where we'd cook and clean. So no technology. Once a week, we got some time, like 2 hours to play cards. And that was
Wow,
really
I thought you
it.
were about to say like watch a movie.
No. So
That's
as the
crazy.
program progressed, but I think this was actually a key thing for me in life is, so key points. 3 months in, I remember sitting at Fry, sitting at the bottom part of this facility. There was 4 programs. There was orange, there was orange, purple, green, and blue. 4 programs. And the first, and you move through each part of the program as your behavior increases, and I guess the authorities that be say, hey, you can move through these parts of the program. So there's 4 parts of the program. You move through as you progress in the program. I remember being in the beginning part of the program, and people at the farmhouse, which they were separate locations, probably a mile away at least. Fry was the first 2 stages where we would sleep on plywood. We didn't have bedding. We would have to take cold showers. That was all these things were on purpose to break you.
Of course, yeah.
They made it very uncomfortable. So I think that also has really helped me in business. It did teach me how to learn to live
Adversity.
with uncomfort and how to push through. And it definitely built a structure of discipline around me where I think that has been key in my ability to show up, because through this program, I learned how to show up even when things got very, very hard. And I did graduate this program successfully. Then, of course, graduated high school, started college, and through college is when I started a business with a friend. We did that, split ways there, rebranded, started Garden Lights Landscaping, grew that for 5 years, now rebranded to Calo Landscape. It's the foundation. So 3 months in at Fry, I'm sitting there, and at the farmhouse, they said that they could hear me scream and cry. 3 months in, I'm sitting there, and I think it just hit me. The shock ended, whatever it was, that I am going to be here for 9 to 12 months.
Dude.
So that just hit.
So that's when you screamed and all that?
That's when I screamed, that's when it was, this makes no sense. It really hit me. It's like, I'm here and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. And I just let it all out.
Oof.
I was screaming, crying.
I feel like that was important,
That
man.
was
that was like a hard reset.
That was a big moment. Yeah, that was
It
a
was like
big
the reset
moment.
button just got held.
It was a big moment for me.
Because then you started to learn new shit.
And then after that is really when I said, you know what, I'm going to give this program a chance.
That's cool. How long in was that?
That was about probably 3 months in.
Yeah, 90 days.
So 3 months of probably just like bucking my head at it, like I don't want to be here.
Yeah, you're the animal that's they're trying to tame. That you're just over here.
And then that was like me, like fully like breaking, surrendering, like like
they literally broke a human.
Yeah.
But then you came back, built better.
yeah, pretty much. So kind of crazy.
That's cool, and everything happens for a reason.
It does, man. No, it's a good thing. So
it's a blessing now, right?
Absolutely,
in perspective,
completely,
retrospect.
I tell my mom all the time, thank you
for doing that,
for saving my life. Right?
Yeah.
So that was important, and now that's
because
why
again, you weren't here consenting, right? People should know that that's usually the case. The person in question is usually not ready to go down this route.
Right, exactly.
So that's the tactic.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. So with that,
it's so cool, man.
I
got a lot of respect for that.
Thank you. I start diving into the program completely, and it just hit me. You know what? If I'm going to be here, I don't like who I am. If I'm going to be here, I'm going to change. I'm going to change who I am. And I'm going to use this program and I'm going to change. I'm going to internalize the change. And that's when I really took the program seriously. I don't know I don't keep up with too many people from the program. And I hope to God that a lot of my peers are. But from what I know, I think I may be the only one out of that 50, 60 people that were there at that time that's been completely sober ever since.
Wow.
So since I stepped into that at 16, I haven't had a sip of alcohol, I haven't smoked weed, I haven't done anything, haven't touched a vape, haven't touched nicotine, haven't touched anything.
That's so cool.
For about 9 years now.
That's a success story in and of itself.
No, it's good. Hey, I had help getting there, and I continue to make the right choice every day. And at this point, I don't want that because that would take me away from where I'm going. So with that specifically, I internalized it. I did the work, 9 months, graduated the program. As we went through the program and got further along, you had more privileges. Was finally able to have some unmonitored conversation again.
There we
to
go.
Kind of win you back out.
That's
win you back out into the real world.
Well, just to be clear, there's never an unmonitored conversation because the CIA is listening at all times.
Sure.
Anyways.
They win you back out into the real world. So,
okay. Here's how I would wrap this up because it's 2:07. You got to go.
Yep.
I would say everybody should check you out on social media. Calo Landscape. Where can we find you?
Anywhere. Type it in on Google. Google us. 200.
CALO landscape.com. They got 200 some 5-star reviews, which is wild. Apparently, I need to start buying my clients wine and bribing them to get them drunk like you. That's pretty cool.
All the above.
But Jovani's going to come back on. I asked him these questions today specifically because, in the beginning phases and throughout this whole podcast, it's always going to be about bringing value to the listeners. And not everybody is going to listen to every episode because they're not going to relate to every episode, nor are they interested in every episode. So for who this is meant for, I hope they find this.
Amen.
And somehow God guides this specific episode into their life if they need to hear about that. But that's just such a brief glimpse at Jovani, and now there's so many other things that we will talk about in terms of his successes and his track record and where he's headed. That was all just literally his foundation, and I thought that people could get a lot of value listening to such an extreme story
Cool.
in the beginning, but just know that he's coming back, and we're going to deep dive into who he is, how he's pivoted, and how he's grown. The last thing I want you to leave the listeners with would be, what are 2, 3, or 4, however many come to your mind, tips for people who struggle with addiction, just general tips that help you stay in your current mindset, never breaking, never accepting a drink, never missing that. And granted, it's always a journey, it's always a battle, and it's ongoing, and I know you're a completely different person, but if you could give one tip or a couple tips to people who struggle with addiction and always gravitate back toward it, what comes to mind for you?
For sure. I think the key thing that I'll say, this might not be really a tip, but a word of encouragement. I think I would say number 1 is environment. Change your environment. If you really can change your environment. For me, I didn't want that, so I had to have my environment changed by force. So I physically had my full environment changed, which honest to God did cause a full transformation, because then I wanted to do the work and I went through this process. Most people that knew me at that time, I'm nothing like who I was. My wife wouldn't have liked me at that time, any of it. So
we attract what we are. Quick asterisk.
Environment is number 1. I'd say environment. If you're not doing well, work to get yourself in the right environment. Have the environment, right? Have the non-negotiables. More than that, your environment. Fully remove it from your environment. If you can get in a place where you can't access it, then you can begin to develop new habits. And then from there, where I'll conclude on is, when you move towards whatever it may be, and I'll speak on sobriety specifically since that's what you asked me about. So the tip, 1, environment, 2, go deep, be real, be vulnerable. Be vulnerable with where you're at. Be vulnerable with what you need.
Be honest with
be
ourselves.
honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself if you have an addiction and you're just hiding it. Be honest with yourself about where you really want to go, and really ask yourself that question. What do I really want? And then environment, because that environment's going to allow you to make the right decisions, to allow you to be sober, to allow you to then keep that habit going. And then the last thing I'll say is,
where does God come into play here?
Well, the last thing I'll say before, God is everything. Lean on the Lord.
So
lean
is
on
that
our
the
Lord.
basis before any of this is even...
Lean on our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
There we go.
Amen. You gotta lean on Him. He's a good guy.
So what was the last bit there?
So the last bit that I have is, when you get sober and you begin to make progress towards your goals and towards what you really want, you no longer desire the thing that holds you back. So that's really
powerful.
it. So the tip about stopping,
That's powerful.
environment, change your actions, get the right habits, keep the right habits, and then when you get enough of that momentum, like for me, I don't need those tips. I don't desire a drink ever. I don't ever think about drinking, smoking, everything, because when you get enough momentum towards where you want to go, anything that takes you back from that no longer becomes attractive.
And the last spin that I'll put on that would probably be for people to find their passions, what they love, what they care about, what those hobbies are, the things they ache to do every day. Doing more of that, minus drugs and alcohol, as much as you can. I think that will bring you out of the bad person that you were before, or at least the foundational person that laid the groundwork for version 2.0 or 10.0 or 100.0.
Absolutely.
So thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
Jovani's going to be back.
Yes.
His time's valuable.
Yes.
That's episode number 4. We will see
thing.
you on number 5 on the To The Max podcast.
I love it.
Thanks
Amen.
for tuning in.
And Max, what you're doing is beautiful. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Bye.
Beautiful.